at the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, say security agencies are intimidating and harassing them during their Meet the People tour. Clinzy Masinde Barasa, police officer charged with the murder of Boniface Kariuki, pleads not guilty in court. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Laura Omondi. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. EBN Prime Edition kicks off right now. Now, Education CS Julius OGAMBA Migos has urged members of Parliament and other stakeholders to engage constructively in discussions on education financing, particularly on contentious debate over capitation grants. Speaking at a public forum, OGAMBA clarified that the Ministry of Education has neither proposed nor implemented any reduction in capitation for learners, contrary to circulating claims. The Cabinet Secretary stressed the need for responsible messaging, warning that misinformation only stirs unnecessary public anxiety.
We're all in this together. So just use as language that does not create some issues unnecessarily. We are in this economy together. What happens in budget making, you look at the money you have, then you distribute it among the ministries that exist, because every sector requires resources. So what we are saying is that we look and see how to budget with the funds that are available to ensure that education gets the funding that it requires. And that will start with MPs. It actually starts with us as a ministry presenting what we require, and then they'll work towards it from what they have, so that then we can have as much money as possible to support that program. But there is, in this country, a tendency of people just taking things out of context and making a story out of it, which is not there. Nobody, for example, nobody has ever said that we are reducing the money from 22,000 to 1,600. That was, I don't know where you got that from. Even my colleague never said anything close to that. But that is what you pick. So I would like you to give Kenyans the true position. You are all products of the education system. I don't know why everybody is so hell-bent on painting education as failing in this country, when even the English you are speaking, it is English that you've gotten through that education system.
Allies of the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on Monday filed an application at the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, over targeted attacks by the police when they are out on tours in various parts of the country. Led by the Democratic Action Party of Kenya leader Eugene Wamalwa, the leaders took issue with the consistent police roadblocks and use of tear gas to disrupt the convoys and meetings, saying it is a targeted political attack to weaken their political muscle. Rigathi Gachagua has condemned the Sunday's attack on his allies, blaming the state for sending the officers against leaders who are opposed to the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Because they shot around 6 times when we were lying down, the two of us. And they told us to shout totem. And unless we shout totem, they are going to kill us. And they pointed the guns at us, myself and my driver. So basically we had to say totem so that we can be safe.
If there was any crime that had been committed, then we are members of parliament and we are leaders in this country. We can be invited to any police station anytime and we'll go and record statements. But this kind of violence, Honorable Chair, if IPOA does not reign on these rogue police officers, then we don't have a country.
We are entering that critical stage, Honorable Chair. You have been in IEBC. What Krigler talked about, 2 years to the election. We are entering that period. In another 2 weeks, we'll be entering that period. So any situation that would allow pre-election violence will be a threat to our democracy.
As a former chair of IBC, I think I don't like where it's going. It's going to get bad, and I think we need to have even you guys as the political leaders, perhaps you need to find a way of engaging with your counterparts, if you can.
Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has issued a sweeping directive for nationwide hospital reforms following what he termed as a systems failure at the Kenyatta National Hospital, which led to the tragic death of Edward Maingi Ndegwa. Addressing journalists at KNH on Monday, Duale described the incident as unacceptable and extended the ministry's condolences to Ndegwa's family. The Cabinet Secretary acknowledged growing public concern over safety in public health institutions, saying the ministry is taking immediate action to address systemic lapses. Duale directed all national referral hospitals to conduct a security audit and implement corrective measures, including improving CCTV surveillance in sensitive hospital areas.
What happened at Kenyatta Hospital is unacceptable. It exposed systems vulnerabilities that must be addressed, and that's why we are here. And on behalf of the Ministry of Health, I really want to extend my condolences to Mr. Edward's family and loved ones. We're going to introduce in all our referrals, which the CEOs will communicate from today. Number one, by making sure we have upscaled our CCTV coverage in all places and more so in sensitive areas. We must have some sort of traceability of the patients that come to our hospitals. It will never be again where you drop a patient and you go away. No. From the moment you enter the gate, we will record your vehicle, we will record your ID card, and you will record the same with the person receiving that patient. And on that, I have instructed hospitals to work closely with the Ministry of Interior, our chiefs, and community leaders, so that together we can trace families and arrange this dignified discharge and place those who cannot be reintegrated into care institutions across our country. To our healthcare workers who are working in our referral hospitals, you are the backbone of our system. I urge you to renew your commitment to the oath of service. Treat every patient with urgency, dignity, and empathy.
Clinzy Baraza Masinde, the police officer charged with the murder of mask vendor Boniface Mwangi, has pleaded not guilty. Masinde appeared before the Milimani Law Courts on Monday after undergoing a mental assessment and was okayed to take plea. The court ordered the prosecution to file bail within 7 days and the family of the victims to reply to the application within 7 days. Assistant Director of Investigations attached to the IPOA, Sarah Mwea, recommended death penalty if Baraza is found guilty. IPOA further urged the court to conduct witness threats, assessment on 2 key witnesses who are deemed vulnerable. Baraza is accused of killing hawker Boniface Kariuki during the June 17th Nairobi protests over extrajudicial killings.
The victims have a right to participate in the trial, but subject, of course, to the guidelines or the limitations that may be imposed by the trial court. As to who will have a right to speak for the victims, we shall cross that bridge.
Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has raised a red flag over the existence of goons and criminal gangs in Trans Nzoia County. Murkomen said some of the goons were being financed by political leaders in the county. Addressing the press at the Trans Nzoia County Commissioner's office in Kitale Town on Monday, the CS said all the criminal gangs and hired goons in the county are already on the radar of security agencies. For the last few weeks, the county has witnessed several political meetings being disrupted by goons, the recent one being an event that was being hosted by the county woman member of parliament, Lillian Sioi.
As witnessed in the recent past, a great rise of goons, politically generated and facilitated goons that are causing havoc in meetings, giving problems to law enforcement. Political leaders, each one of them are hiring some goons. It starts like bouncers and then moves slowly. They become criminals that are making public meetings impossible here, funerals, places of fights, and then, you know, they are incentivized by the money they paid. They also get drugs and they get alcohol. I have also asked the county security team to work with the elected leaders here to ensure that all the goons that have been hired and those that are about to be hired are all dismantled, everybody to go and do their own business, and they be given something else to do instead of engaging in this goonship. Pia nataka kusisitiza ya kwamba idara ya polisi wako na jukumu kuhakikisha kwamba mtu yoyote mwenye atajaribu kunena maneno yenye itagawa wa Kenya atachukuliwa hatua ya kisheria, na ninawaomba kotini, wakati tutakaopeleka hao watu katika kotini, msipatie tukumbuke benye tumetoka, na msipatie bail terms ya chini. Lazima mtume ujumbe kwa Wakenya kwamba hata mahakama inapinga mambo ya uchochezi na ukabila.
At the same time, Kipchumba Murkomen has issued a strong warning to drug traffickers after a successful raid in Kitale town on Sunday night led to the seizure of cannabis worth over 3 million shillings. The raid, carried out by security officers working alongside the National Authority of Campaigns Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, took place just hours before the Jukwaa la Usalama Baraza in Trans Nzoia County. The team included the anti-narcotics unit, the administration police, and local police who stormed a suspected drug den after weeks of surveillance. 6 people were arrested during the operation and are now being questioned.
We have admitted from our security sector that some of our officers are culpable, and we will be dealing with them immediately, and we are not transferring anybody. They will be receiving their dismissal letters as they go through their court processes to answer why they are facilitating smuggling of drugs and the distribution of drugs and alcohol, illicit alcohol.
Hiyo operation ni part of ile makataa tulipewa na waziri. Alituambia tuingie nyanjani tuanze kupigana na hii mihadarati. The operation yesterday was intelligence led na tunaendelea. Tumeshika suspects wawili, na katika ile hali ya kuhojiana tumepata majina, namba na distribution centers zingine ambazo nikiwa hapa nasimama, maofisa wako huko kwa ground wanaendelea kufanya upekuzi.
A few days after another controversial religious incident emerged in Binzaro, Chakama, Kilifi County, sparking concern among residents, the national government has been urged to deploy more administrative officers to Chakama and Shakahola to prevent the rise of rogue religious groups that could lead to further tragedies. According to Adu Ward representative Samson Kahindi, it has been many years since the government elevated Chakama to a sub-county, yet the position of Deputy County Commissioner remains vacant. Zia argues that if the government remains committed in fighting rogue religion in the area, it must immediately fill that vacant position.
Katika yale ambayo yalitendeka tangu juzi ni kwamba ni jambo ambalo lilikuwa linatupatia kiwewe, kwa sababu sisi tulikuwa tunajua kwamba katika ile hali ya kwa Makenzi ilikuwa imeisha, kwa sababu serikali ilikuwa imepanga mikakati na kuweka maaskari katika ile sehemu, na serikali iliweza kuchukua ekari zaidi ya 4,800 ili kuhakikisha katika hiyo sehemu hakuna mtu yeyote anaweza kuingia katika hiyo sehemu na kuishi na kukufa. Chajabu ni kwamba saa hii tunapata kwamba kuna hizo familia ambazo ziliweza kupatikana juzi, na hata pia saa hii kuna wengine ambao hawajulikani waliko, na tunashuku ya kwamba walikufilia pale ndani. Kuna baadhi ya madhehebu mengine ambayo yako pale Shakahola. Kuna dhehebu moja liko pale Shakahola, ukienda upande wa bridge kuna kaburi hapo. Kuna dhehebu lingine hapo, huyo mchungaji huyo naye yuko katika hiyo hali. Kuzungumza pande zote tatu, Senate, National Assembly na pia County Assembly, tuweze kuja kwa pamoja tuhakikishe kwamba tunaona kwamba hii Kilifi tunailinda vizuri. Kwa hivyo serikali mjue kwamba kuna dhehebu pale. Kuna pale Bombi kuna dhehebu lingine. Mama mwingine hapo ndiye pastor ambaye anaendeleza nini, kama pengine umeenda ni mgonjwa anakata kuku nyuzie mtu kwa mwili, lakini hizo ripoti zote ziko. Tuko na Matolani pale, kuna dhehebu lingine nalo hilo nalo linafanya vituko, hiyo tusha ripoti. Kuna kule Adu, kuna kule Marereni, hata juzi tayari wiki iliyopita kuna mgonjwa alilala katika nyumba ya watu akiombewa hapo, mtu amefungua dhehebu hapo Marereni.
Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, has said Kenya is strategically positioning itself as a regional hub for cancer care, innovation and treatment. Speaking during the official opening of the second National Cancer Summit in Nairobi, Mudavadi underscored the urgency of strengthening national and cross-border capacities to fight cancer, describing it as one of the greatest public health threats facing the region. He said the government is scaling up strategic investments in healthcare, infrastructure, emerging technologies, and specialized human capital to tackle the rising cancer burden. Mudavadi added that beyond the health implications, cancer has far-reaching social and economic consequences, often plunging families into poverty and distress due to high out-of-pocket treatment costs.
Today we stand united, not just in sorrow, but in our resolve to turn the tide against cancer. We are not powerless. We are powerful when we join hands, when we unite our voices, and when we act with purpose. Every Kenyan has a role in this battle. Whether you shape policies, heal patients, educate minds, grow food, or inspire the next generation, your actions matter. Your voice matters. Let us leave this summit not with words alone, but with a commitment to bold, measurable steps towards a cancer-free Kenya. Let us honor those who have lost by ensuring their pain is not the legacy of our future. May we draw strength from our unity, courage from our convictions, and hope from our shared humanity. Together, we can and we will defeat cancer.
Through the National Equipment Service Project, we are strengthening our cancer care by equipping our national and county referral hospitals with essential screening and treatment equipment. Mammograms have already been installed in Kisumu and Kerugoya, while CT scans are operational in 15 county referral hospitals, with installation underway in another 15 additional counties.
Let me say that to ensure that policy translates into impact, counties must operationalize the national strategies pillars, from prevention and screening to diagnostics, treatment and palliative care at every level of the health system. 2, stakeholder coordination must be institutionalized. National government, ministries, county departments, healthcare workers, NGOs, community health volunteers, and development partners must align on plans, funding, and messages.
Okay, 20 minutes past the hour mark. We take a quick break right here on EBN TV. We'll be back shortly with more news making headlines. Don't go too far. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. President William Ruto has called on world leaders to embrace new measures to accelerate efforts to end hunger and meet nutritional needs within global food systems. The president pointed out that while meaningful and significant progress has been made in providing the world with more sufficient, safe and nutritious food, more needs to be done to make it a universal success. He said although the world's food system now contributes between 10 to 12% of global gross domestic product, translating to about $8 trillion and $10 trillion annually, this is hardly felt in developing countries. Addressing the second UN Food System Summit stock take in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on Monday, President William Ruto said starvation, malnutrition, and undernutrition remain a harsh daily reality for far too many.
It is still possible to reorganize global food systems to accelerate progress towards the SDGs and broader sustainability goals. This requires coordinated focus on 6 key priority areas. First, we must integrate food system strategies into national policies. A unified value chain approach can address interconnected challenges from food and nutrition insecurity to public health and environmental degradation, including climate change. Second, we must strengthen the governance of food systems. Fragmented global responses are counterproductive, and we need stronger policy coherence, greater transparency and accountability, including evidence-based decision-making and capacity building at all levels.
Despite progress, the African continent faces mounting challenges. Yet Africa can feed itself and help feed the world. But this requires, first, development financing. Africa needs predictable concessional finance to invest in agriculture, rural transformation, infrastructure, and nutrition.
Global food insecurity still affects around 10% of the world's population. And this percentage is largely concentrated here in Africa, where 1 on 5 people suffer from hunger and do not have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to lead a healthy life. And we know very well that when people do not have access to sufficient food or lose the means to produce it, the consequences can be catastrophic. Poverty worsens, conflicts intensify, and communities become more vulnerable to violence, terrorism, or forced migration.
Education stakeholders led by former Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, KESHA Chairman Kai Indimuli, have urged the government to take a more proactive role in managing the country's education system, warning that the sector is on its last breath. Speaking during the retirement ceremony of veteran educator Julius Mutui in Sultan Hamud, Indimuli emphasized the urgent need for reforms and stronger leadership from the Ministry of Education. He noted the increasing challenges in the education sector, ranging from underfunding and staffing shortages to infrastructure gaps, which threaten the future of quality education in Kenya.
We are also facing some challenges from the pronouncement of our finance CS, Honorable Bandi, and also what we got from CS Education, Julius. I want to say we got shocked. We did not take it lightly because it was a shock to every person in Kenya, even alone the principals and teachers and students, every citizen of Kenya, because we were expecting this capitation to be announced. But instead, there is a pronouncement of decreasing capitation. We are foreseeing a situation where very soon we are going to have a big number dropping out of school and also many students not joining grade 10. And I'm very sure from the system, the new system we have, the grade 9 graduates are not yet ready to go into the market.
I want to use this platform to continue asking the government that if we continue underfunding our institutions, they will ground to a halt. Just before I exited service, Mr. Mutui and I and the other chairpersons sat down and wrote a petition to Parliament that clearly showed that schools since 2019, during the advent of COVID-19, schools started receiving less and less capitation. And at the time we were doing the petition, schools were owed 68 billion. We presented that to Parliament. I wish the parliamentarians were here to tell us what happened to the petition. So unless we sit down and think on how schools should be funded, we are grounding to a halt in education.
All right, let's get sporty. Two-time champions Morocco have become the first team to arrive for the 2024 Total Energies African Nations Championship CHAN, setting the tone for what promises to be an electrifying tournament co-hosted by Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. The Atlas Lions landed at the JKIA in Nairobi at 4 a.m. on Monday morning, receiving a vibrant East African welcome, complete with traditional dances and music. The North African Giants, aiming to become the first country to win the CHAN title 3 times, are wasting no time in getting acclimatized as they begin their final preparations for the tournament opener.
My name is Marwa Al-Wadni, defender. I'm happy to be in Kenya. We're ready in CHAN. Yeah, it's happy. Nairobi is, I think, good weather and.
All right, in that breath, we wrap it up tonight. Thank you for watching. This is EBN Prime Edition, and we wish the Harambee Stars all the best as they prepare for their first match this coming Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Kasarani Stadium. By the way, tickets are over and done with. However, we're expecting that they are set to release a few more tickets, so make sure you grab yourself one in the run-up to the weekend. Thank you for watching. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Laura Omondi. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourselves a blessed night.